Welcome back, everybody, to the Get Back Guys podcast. Laughing because we've been filming a couple back-to-back episodes here. Gracious that Zach and Caleb join us again, sticking with us to film a whole bunch at once, get some of these NFL divisions and NBA talk as the playoffs started for that. And right as we're about to start filming, Nick decides to start an argument, and they all start debating. But anyway, we got to get to the division, so Packers, Bears, Vikings, Lions. We have Zach on because he is a massive Bears fan. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, he's wearing a Bulls shirt from Chicago. Nick, obviously big Packer fan. So let's just real quick go through. Zach, what do you like about your team, or maybe not like about your team? What are your thoughts about this season?
Well, I think what's promising is that last year our offense was about as bad as I can imagine it being, and we still won 8 games. Our defense has improved. We added Robert Quinn. He had the highest rate of pass rush wins last year, and I believe closely followed by Khalil Mack. So we have 2 of the top pass rushers in football on our roster. Akeem Hicks missed a ton of games last year. He's back and healthy. We have Roquan Smith coming back from a torn pectoral. Danny Trevathan missed a lot of time. So we're getting a lot of games back on that defense that was historic in 2018. Probably not going to be that good as good this year, but we're going to be better than we were in 2019. And on offense, we still have some nice pieces. Allen Robinson is, I'll argue about it all day, a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. We have a quarterback room that is interesting. I don't know that Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles are necessarily going to light a fire under anyone, but they're not going to be as bad as the room was last year. So for the Bears, the name of the game is just there's going to be incremental improvement. They have a really high floor, and even if their ceiling isn't 13-3, they're going to be in that wild card hunt. So I'm pretty optimistic about where we're at as a squad.
That Robert Quinn signing, I mean, while it's great because you have him opposite of Khalil Mack pretty much, but that's a big contract for Robert Quinn, and I just don't see the reasoning behind it.
Well, it is, and I mean, signing Nick Foles or trading for Nick Foles sort of negates this, but when you look at it, we had Mitch Trubisky on a rookie contract. A lot of Robert Quinn's deal is pretty front-heavy, so assuming that we have a cheap quarterback, it makes a lot of sense to double down on paying for pass rush, and sure. That's where I think we're coming at. We're a win-now squad. We went 12-4 in 2018. Disappointing last year, but that's you got to push your chips in. We can't just save cap space. Before COVID, cap space was going up by about $10 million every single year, so it was a little overrated anyway. Now it is a little more tenuous, but yeah, I think it's a smart signing. And ridiculously, it's somewhat hard to believe. Robert Quinn is only 30. Yeah. It feels like he's been in the league for about 12 years now, but he's only 30 years old and he's still producing at a high level. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
All right, Nick, what do you think about your pack going into the year?
Yeah, obviously we didn't have the offseason that we wanted to. I don't like the Jordan Love pick. It still bothers me to this day. But I don't think we got a lot worse. Like, I think the Vikings got worse, and I've said that previously. So I still think the Packers are still the favorite to win the division, because even though Aaron Rodgers has definitely declined since his last collarbone injury in 2017, he's still much better than every other quarterback in the division. Kirk Cousins maybe can, if he's playing really good, but the big thing for the Packers, we don't turn the ball over because of Aaron Rodgers. Our rushing game, even though I didn't love the pick of A.J. Dillon at the time, if you've seen those pictures, man, those calves are huge.
And been he's doing some deadlifts.
He also... the one thing he was knocked for is not being able to catch the ball, and I don't think that's going to be any kind of part of his game that much, but he did make a couple of big catches this week in training camp, which doesn't mean a whole lot, but he's a great complement to Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. So our rushing attack is going to be awesome. Devontae Adams is awesome. PFF has our offensive line ranked number 4 in the NFL, and I think that's maybe a little ambitious because they lost Brian Bulaga, but I still think the Packers offensive line is around top 10. Because we still have David Bakhtiari and Jenkins, who's awesome. And the defense, I think the secondary is going to be improved a little bit because we have a lot of young guys, Jair Alexander and Darnell Savage, who are going to improve. And actually, the one, I really wanted us to draft Patrick Queen, the linebacker, because we're really kind of shorthanded at middle linebacker. But the one kind of glimmer of hope that I have outside of Christian Kirksey, who is definitely, if he's healthy, an upgrade over Blake Martinez, at least in the run game. But Oren Burks, who's going into his third year, we drafted him a couple years ago. He's been really banged up, and last year he had a pec injury, and I didn't really know much about it because they kind of kept it quiet. But last year he could only bench 135 pounds with his injury, and right now he's benching in I think around 300. So he is a little bit he's healthy, and he could add a little bit to that rushing defense, which isn't going to be great, but could be a little bit better. And if we're better, our pass defense is awesome because we have great pass rushers and a really aggressive secondary. I still think we're going to be around 10 to 12 wins is my guess. I think we're still the best team in the division, but we definitely it's really going to depend on Aaron Rodgers in year 2 of this system, which is also potential to be awesome, but still a question mark with those receivers.
Kyle, what do you think about
young
the Vikings?
Tight ends?
Well, with the Vikings, they've been a team that I've liked for a while. I think Mike Zimmer is a great coach, and I think he was able to orchestrate and bring together a team that was balanced on offense and defense. I also have a man crush on Adam Thielen. I don't know why, I just do. It's unexplainable. But this offseason definitely took a turn for them. I mean, they lost some really major key players: Everson Griffin, Linval Joseph, Trey Waynes, Xavier Rhodes, who I know had a down year last year, but he was still very vital to when they did have success over the past few years. Stephon Diggs as well. They traded him away. So they've definitely lost some key players that could really bump down their wins quite a bit. I do like some of their drafted guys, though, like wide receiver Justin Jefferson. I don't think he's going to be the next coming of Stephon Diggs, but I think he could be a rookie that makes an impact right away, especially for Kirk Cousins. Is going to help him quite a bit. And with some other guys that they drafted, like Jeff Gladney, the cornerback, and Ezra Cleveland, the tackle. I almost said Ezra Miller, the actor. They have some guys that could be able to help them do like kind of a mini rebuild, if you will, to get them back to being a really good contender. But right now, I just see them kind of trying to get into the wild card. Like, they'll still be a pretty tough team under Mike Zimmer, but I think there's just so many losses that they're just going to have to do a mini rebuild.
And for the Lions, I actually like a lot of their offensive pieces. I like Matt Stafford. You got big arm, still a really good quarterback. I really like Kenny Golladay. Losing Darius Slay really hurts for them and great for me. But I think they're okay. I actually don't mind Matt Patricia as a coach. Didn't coach well against us in the Super Bowl. Anyway, Lions will be average to below average. All right, let's get into the schedule here. Starting with the Packers. Nick, Packers at Vikings. Who's getting a win there?
I actually think it's a win. Kirk Cousins has never been that good against Aaron Rodgers in his career. He's only won, I think, one game. He's lost in the playoffs with the Redskins, and he tied a game as well in 2018. And we beat him handily in Week 16 on the road. They're missing their cornerbacks. For as rough as the Packers' number 2 receivers might be, their cornerbacks don't have it in them, I don't think. And I think the Packers get a big win Week 1. I think Aaron Rodgers has a lot to prove, and he's gonna play well in Week 1.
Zach?
I agree. I don't think the Vikings are really built to play the Packers. Their offensive line is still kind of weak. If there is a glimmer of hope for them, it's that Gary Kubiak is taking over their offense, and he worked with Kyle Shanahan. And so, if you want to sort of push a narrative, Dalvin Cook in the Kyle Shanahan run game could give the Packers some pretty big problems, but I don't see it happening.
Caleb?
Go Pack.
Let's go.
Sounds like 3 wins there. So Pack get a win. Then they go play that Matt Patricia Lions in Lambeau. I don't think Lions win this game, not in Lambeau.
Yeah, I think it's actually I think it's going to be a closer game than the Vikings game, actually. The Lions always play us close no matter who they put at quarterback. But I will give it to the Packers because at Lambeau, and Aaron's always awesome at Lambeau.
Yeah, plus
Agreed.
the referees tend to hand the Packers games against the Lions. So
Sounds
Nick
like
has
a
no
win
comment.
for the Pack. Packers at Saints. Do they go 3-0 to start the year against the Saints? I'm probably going to say no myself, but Nick, it's your team. What do you think?
I mean, I think this definitely could be a loss. I think it's going to depend on what Drew Brees we see and kind of if any of the Packers' younger players kind of take a jump forward or what Aaron Rodgers we see. But I'll actually give it to the Saints because I think the Packers won't go 13-3. I think that will regress a little bit.
What do you
Kyle?
mean by which Drew Brees we see?
I'm just saying, are we going to see Drew Brees in the playoffs who couldn't throw the ball very far, or are we going to see regular season Drew Brees who's awesome?
Well, he'll be awesome. I think they can win. I was just curious.
Caleb, Saints, Pack.
Saints are awesome this year. I'll take the Saints.
Sounds like a loss there. Then the Falcons come into Lambeau. Zach?
I like the Falcons, and I know that's a little bit of a surprise pick, but Aaron Rodgers has never beaten Dan Quinn in
That's not true.
any position, as far as I'm aware. Where did he beat him?
2018, when they weren't that good, but the Packers weren't that good. The Packers beat them in Lambeau last time they played.
I'm pretty sure the Falcons beat the Packers in 2018.
No, 2017 is when they beat them.
We can look it up. In any
I'm
case,
looking
he's
it up.
not been
You guys
successful
argue.
against Dan Quinn pretty much ever. Maybe
Yeah,
they
Packers
have
won
win.
34-20 at home.
Okay.
But it was a little bit
I'm
later in the year.
misremembering. Later. Okay, so then it's like 1-5 against Dan Quinn in the Falcons defense or the Seahawks defense. So I think that there's a track record of success against Aaron Rodgers there. And I don't think that the Packers have the pieces on offense outside of Rodgers and Adams to expose a weaker defense.
When did Dan Quinn go to the Falcons?
After 2014.
Okay, so he wasn't there when Russell Wilson had his nightmare game in Lambeau.
Yeah.
No.
Because that was 2015. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I think just because the fact that it's in Lambeau Field, the Packers get a win here. I think if it was in Atlanta, it'd be tougher. And Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers in their career have kind of gone back and forth with blowout wins on both sides. But I just think the Packers are better than the Falcons, and the Falcons' defense isn't good enough.
Caleb, Packers or Falcons?
I listen in Lambeau. Got to go with the Packers there.
Sounds like a win for the Pack. Packers at Bucks. I give the win to the Pack here. Because they're better. And there's silence from the crowd. So that's a win.
It will be in Tampa,
no.
Right?
It is in Tampa, yeah.
That makes things interesting. In that case, I could actually see Tampa sneaking a win.
Nope.
Okay.
I picked the Bucks too there. I think
biased.
The Buccaneers have the weapons. Well, I mean, we got to look at the matchups here. Once again, the run game that Nick was touting as taking a step forward, they're facing the number one run defense from last year. They only have Devontae Adams. No one else on that offense, wide receiver, really scares anyone. It's all on Aaron Rodgers. And if you're going to give me the choice between Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams versus Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, it feels like it's pretty stacked there. Cameron Brate, yeah. I mean, there's a clear discrepancy in talent for the Buccaneers there, and I think that they win that game.
I think it's going to be real interesting. I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be a really close game. I really want to see our secondary go up. I really want to see Jair Alexander go up against these receivers, even though he's at a height disadvantage against them.
Who's your number two corner this year?
It's Kevin King. He's solid. He's not insane, but he's, I think, pretty quality. And so I think it'll be an interesting matchup. I actually will give it to the Bucks. I think the way we win this game is if either Alan Lazard or one of those number 2 receivers, those young guys, if they look like a number 2 receivers, I think we got a good chance to be really good. But I think I'll give it to the Bucks. I'll try to be realistic.
You 3 are all going Bucks. I'm going Pack. Caleb?
Yeah, listen, we're in Montana. Most of us are in Montana here, and it's been absurdly hot these last couple days. Cracked 100 a couple days ago. Listen, man, going down from Lambeau to frickin' the dang hottest place on earth, Tampa Bay, with Tampa Tom doing Tampa Tom things. No way I'm taking the Buccaneers there for sure.
I'm taking the Packers, but I was outvoted, but I wanted to be aware that I took the Pack. Packers at Texans. I think Pack wins this.
Yeah, I think Pack win it as well. Looking at their schedule, I think they have 3 tough, they play the 49ers up in a little bit, and I think between Bucks, Texans, 49ers, I think there's a chance they go 1-2, and I actually think the win will be against the Texans. I think we have the personnel to deal with that receiving core. Like Jair Alexander's the perfect cornerback to guard those guys because he's a similar size and he has the speed. Darnell Savage, awesome off the top. And Zadarius Smith is going to have a heyday against that offensive line.
To my knowledge, Texans are past week 3. They've lost all versatility. So, Kyle, why don't you come at me now? Find my sources.
If they've lost all versatility at this point, then it has to be the Packers.
Well,
that's the rule of the Texans.
Caleb?
At this point, Bill O'Brien is crying softly at a picture of all the missed opportunities that he's screwed up in his last couple of years as a coach, and is on the hot seat. His buns are on fire. Again, the heat, he can't handle it. I'm going Pack there.
I think Bill O'Brien is crying into the Cheetos bag that he got for sending Nuke over. I think he ate them, and now he's crying into them. Mm-hmm. Zach, we gave him a win, but do you care to chime in?
I mean, I think Deshaun Watson keeps the Texans in any game, but I would still lean Packers in that one.
Packers
Texans have a fun schedule.
Vikings at Packers. Nick? You beat
Again,
them once.
I think the Vikings, I think they regressed more than any team in our division. They lost Everson Griffin. They lost so many cornerbacks. And even if that cornerback group starts playing a little bit better mid-season, this one's in Lambeau. I think the Packers get a big win here.
Look, Justin Jefferson, I think, will be a solid receiver, but he was the wide receiver coming out of college that had the most accurate passes thrown to him of any other receiver in this draft. So Kirk has to keep it on to keep him going, is what I'm hearing. And I think that the Packers defense will have a good time with that because Kirk not always accurate.
I thought Kirk was accurate. I mean, the Packers defense is tough, but
Kirk just fumbles a lot.
So does Wentz, but don't bring it up. Zach?
Yeah, I have a hard time picking the Packers to sweep the Vikings, but I would probably say that they did it last year. So I'm not too high on the Vikings this year. They have too much to replace. It's a close game, but I don't see a win.
All right. Caleb, concur here. Pack?
Yep. Even though that's going to be the Dalvin Cook game, he's going to go for 132 yards rushing, but no, they lose.
You heard it here first, folks.
Honestly, he might go 132 yards both games, and I still think they lose. Like,
Packers,
real quick, the Packers in Week 16 played one of their against the Vikings on the road. Played one of their worst games of the year with Aaron Rodgers throwing a terrible pick. Aaron Jones fumbled, and I think Devontae Adams fumbled in that game, and they won comfortably. So I don't know. I think the Vikings are kind of overrated just because they got a big playoff win last year.
Packers at Niners. I think the Niners regress. I think they're in a tough division. I think Pack wins it. Zach shaking his head.
The Niners will sandblast the Packers. They did it twice last year. They were going to just hammer them into the turf. I mean, look, I'm not saying the 49ers are going to be a 13-3 Super Bowl team, but they clearly match up against the Packers in ways that Matt LaFleur couldn't adjust to given several weeks and a second chance. And so you look at it that way. Kyle Shanahan was on the same staff as Matt LaFleur. He hasn't figured out. The Packers really didn't add anything. I mean, Nick mentioned Oren Burks, but Christian Kirksey is the only player they really added. Is he really going to stop one of the best run games in the NFL? I don't see it. They also don't have anyone to guard George Kittle. It's not a good matchup for the Packers.
Do we think the Niners run game is going to stay as good as it was? Do we think that's a one hit kind of crazy great year and they'll just be good after that?
I think the Niners will regress this year, and we'll talk about that a lot in the AFC West. But Zach's
NFC.
totally right. The NFC West. The Niners just match up so well against I don't think the Packers are, obviously, we're a really good team. I don't think we have a ton of weaknesses, but our weaknesses are exploited perfectly by the 49ers. They are a matchup nightmare. And I really do think that we would have, and I know Zach probably disagrees with me on this, but I think we would have beaten any other team in the NFC in the playoffs except for the 49ers last year. And I think it's a closer game because I think, that defense is going to regress a little bit. And I think everyone's going to be studying that Kyle Shanahan offense even more. And I think, you lose Breda, Mostert was awesome last year, but is he the kind of guy who's going to keep it up, or was it because he had a lot of other pieces around him? And Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think's that great, but
Mostert but he had he was on other teams. Like, he got cut off practice squads.
I'm still going to go 49ers because the Packers got a couple big wins against the Texans, and they got a big win against the Vikings, and I think we regress a little bit. I'll give us a loss.
So these two are saying a loss. Caleb, do you think the Packers win or the Niners?
Listen, Jimmy Garoppolo officially passed Aaron Rodgers in a very key category last year. Are you ready for this, guys? Because this is
I'm ready
for you. Jimmy Garoppolo passed Aaron Rodgers in the Caleb's mom's pretty guy index. Now, her favorite quarterback behind Tom Brady on the pretty quarterback index, right above Aaron Rodgers. Listen, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to wink at the Packers defense, and they're all going to fall down. I take the 49ers here.
All right,
I was so nervous. I was like, what is this stat that I do not know?
Zach and Nick were losing it there.
There was a percentage of hope that Caleb was going to be like, Jimmy Garoppolo passed Aaron Rodgers in missed wide open Super Bowl throws. I was like, yeah, let's get that. But no, I think it's a bad matchup for the Packers. And the Packers are coming off of a lot of brutal weeks before that. I think it's a bad matchup.
Look, there are two things my inside sources have told me, boys. One, the Texans lose all versatility after week 3. 2, Jimmy Garoppolo's so good he can wink and defenses fall over.
He's way up there on the pretty quarterback index for Caleb's mom. It's true.
I do think the 49ers offense could take a little bit of a step back, especially with a lot of injuries at wide receiver. I haven't heard a thing about anything bad happening to the 49ers defense, and I think that's key. So I think that defense could be able to hold their own. So Packers will lose.
All right.
Not to mention Shanahan's, even his dad, like their run system produces 1,000-yard rushers no matter who's running the ball. I'm pretty convinced Kyle could run the ball for the 49ers near 1,000 yards if he stayed healthy.
And they still got Tevin Coleman and Jerick McKinnon, and I'm sure there's 5 other running backs on that depth chart as well that they're going to use.
Now, Zach said, what was the specific words that they were going to get sandblasted? I wrote that down, and if you're incorrect, even if they lose, but they're not sandblasted, we're throwing water balloons at you. All right, Packers will face the Jags in Lambeau. According to Zach, they get sandblasted the week before, so I bet you they go sandblast the Jags since they got sandblasted earlier.
Gardner Minshew is basically Aaron Rodgers
here, and I don't know how I feel about
it. Hey, man, if Tua's playing. What was that, Zach?
Gardner Minshew is basically Aaron Rodgers with a better mustache. And
the less talent, but sure.
Let's calm down here. Aaron Rodgers has a beautiful mustache. Have you seen
it's
him?
Not Minshew, but The Packers are going to win. The Jaguars are going to have Trevor Lawrence by this time next year. So
I think we all agreed, Pack here.
Yeah. I sure hope so.
I just want to know where
stand blasting, if you ask me.
I just want to know where Minshew lands on Caleb's mom's quarterback index.
Yeah,
have you seen him in the jorts yet?
Please go show your mom some photos and return to us, please. You can tweet at us at the Get Back Guys rating. Packers at Colts. We all know Nick's not a big Colts fan, so I'm assuming you're getting the win here, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about that. I think the Colts are a little overrated from the hype of Andrew Luck getting them a lot of big wins. They've got some talent for sure. I'm not big on Phillip at this point in his career. They do have a good offensive line, as Kyle loves to point out, but I think the Packers can compete with them. I think Aaron Rodgers beats out Phillip.
Kyle, you were shaking your head no because of that Colts O-line.
Actually, I was shaking my head at Nick because he said they were overrated, and I think they're perfectly rated. But I do think the Packers. I do think the Packers could beat out the Colts here.
Inside joke.
See, I think the Colts are. I like them as a playoff team this year, and it doesn't really even have a lot to do with Phillip Rivers. They were a 5-2 team last year before Jacoby Brissett got hurt, and they beat the Chiefs. I think it was in Arrowhead on a primetime game. So I mean, they have some pieces. Their offensive line could neutralize guys like Zadarius Smith. They have Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack in the backfield. You want to talk about run games, controlling the line of scrimmage, which the Packers are weak against the run. So I like the Colts at home here. I think it's a good game, but I think the Colts match up pretty well.
Caleb, Colts Pack.
Listen, at this point in the season, Phillip Rivers realizes he's got child number 17 on the way. He's got to get this win to get another contract. I got the Colts in this game.
Wow. Real quick about the Colts starting 5-2. I also think that's a lot of, because going into training camp, Andrew, like they thought that they were going to be a Super Bowl contender. And so, I think they might have been playing up a little bit with trying to prove that, okay, we can do this without Andrew Luck. And after some injuries unravel, I think you kind of saw that they weren't as good as we all hoped. But, they are in a weak division. Maybe they can.
And they add a borderline Hall of Fame QB and DeForest Buckner to that defensive line. They've gotten better. And that's where it's just like they were already a playoff team in 2018. 2019, they had a lot of bad injury luck, and Jacoby Brissett doesn't appear to be a Pro Bowl level quarterback, but he's still solid. I mean, if Phillip Rivers isn't playing well, a lot of people are like, "Oh, the Colts are going to be like a 4-12 unit," but Jacoby Brissett's probably good enough to get him to 8 wins. Like he can play well on any given Sunday. So I just think the Colts are they're not underrated. I don't think they're overrated. They might be properly rated, but in that division, they're the best team.
I've heard
Zach,
that somewhere else
speaking
before.
my language.
So Zach and Caleb said
man.
win for the Colts. Nick said win for the Pack. Kyle, what did you say?
I do think the Pack could pull out a win.
So I'm the tiebreaker, and we're giving it to the good old Pack.
Listen, man, you guys are underestimating how bad Phillip Rivers is going to need that next contract. He's got another kid on the way.
You, sir, are underestimating my bias until the Eagle game, trying to brown nose around here. Now they go play the Bears. The Bears are coming into Lambeau. Excuse me. Bears at Lambeau. Who's starting at QB? Is it the Biscuit? Is it Nick? I don't know. But we'll go with Zach on. Actually, we'll go to Nick because it's in Lambeau, home field. So, Nick, you go first. Who's winning that game?
I think the Packers win that game. We did go 6-0 in the division last year, and I think this year we probably go 5-1. And so I'll say that the Packers and Bears split, and I'll go, since it's in Lambeau, we'll give the Packers a win, and then I'll give the Bears a win because I think they are going to be decently competitive. I would say the Packers and Bears split, so I'll give Packers.
I looked at my board, and you all moved to different positions when I looked back.
Zach was so mad he left the chat for a second.
It really freaked me out.
My
Zach.
battery is getting a little low, so I had to deal with that. I think that the Bears could be an interesting pick here because they're coming off the bye week, which that doesn't go for nothing. But I do think the Pack in Lambeau is where the Bears struggle. I know that we did lose both games to the Packers last year, but we were within one score in both of those games. So I think it's a real close matchup, but I would lean Packers in Lambeau. I just have too many nightmares from that situation.
Kyle, Caleb, we're going with Pack here?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. You had me shaking.
The Bears are awful. If the Bears win a game next year, I will be amazed. That team, you can put a rubber duck at quarterback, and it's going to be a better team than what they currently got going on. The Bears are going to get lucky if they score a touchdown in this game.
Wow. So, full disclosure to the audience, Caleb has money against the Bears.
I don't think it'll be that bad, but also the Bears are not going to win this game.
So what's this money against the Bears?
Caleb and I have a bet. I say the Bears will have more wins than the Broncos. $10 rides on that.
We got the Broncos at 9-7. I'm excited to find out who's going to win via the board. So that's a win for the Packers. Now they have Philly coming into town, so that's a loss. Packers at Lions.
I think
it's a loss because I've been nothing but kind. I've been nothing but kind.
I think it's going to be a really close game. I know. I think it's going to be a really close game. I'd go Packers. Obviously, we lost to them at Lambeau, but we've gone back and forth with the Eagles. I think often throughout Aaron Rodgers' tenure. If not, we probably have won more than we've lost, considering we won 2 in a row in 2010. But that was a long time ago, so it doesn't really matter.
To bring any of that up whatsoever.
But I'll go Packers. I think it's close though, so we can let the other people pick.
I want to say this real quick though. We won last year in Lambeau. It was like week 4, Thursday Night Football. Really close game. Big injuries. Devontae Adams out for the year. Adams shredded us. They shredded us. Then we went and got Darius Slay. We got a guy who can handle him. So I think and this is a later game in the year, if we're healthy, I think Philly gets a win here because we will be fighting hard. If we're not healthy, I'll rescind this. But
the biggest issue is in Lambeau and how Aaron Rodgers playing versus Carson Wentz.
Yeah, it wasn't last year.
If we're seeing Aaron Rodgers play similar to where he was last year, where he's good, not great, I think you have a good chance. But if Aaron Rodgers kind of gets somewhere close to 2016 Aaron Rodgers, not saying he's going to throw 40 touchdowns, but somewhere
I can say the same thing with Wentz. Give me 2017 Wentz. Oh, wait, we would if his receivers would be healthy. Anyway, we'll go to Kyle here. So, Kyle, who's winning? You look extremely bored hearing us two talk right now.
Sorry, I was in mid-thought.
He has
I don't know.
What's going on. He has not been listening for the last 20 minutes.
I don't even remember what we're talking about. I do think the Eagles could actually pull out a win here. Like I've talked multiple times about how I do like that they have constructed their roster, especially this year. But there is the question about injuries. But Alex is right though. Like if injuries do play a part like it did last year, it won't be good. But I think their roster is constructed enough to where it could overtake Aaron Rodgers.
I'll say this real fast. We've had a couple of camp injuries, and from what I've heard from all the writers since, is that the second anybody's like, "Oh, my shoulder's a little sore," Doug's like, "You got 3 weeks off now. You just wait till week 1." So I think hopefully we'll be healthy. But Nick Kyle going with me, Caleb, who you got here?
Home team. Just comes down to that.
It does not. Didn't last year. Zach?
I think the Eagles tend to play to the level of their competition. When they play good teams, they typically play well. When they play bad teams, they play really not well. So, and they usually win those games anyway. But, I mean, look at the Dolphins game last year if you want an example of that. So I'm going to take them over the Pack because I think that when they play playoff competition, they tend to play up to their talent level.
Let's go!
They
I disagreed with most of what you said, but I'll take it. All right. Pack at Lions. Let's get out of here before anybody changes their mind. Pack at Lions. Pack, big win here. Big win. Because I don't want Nick mad at me.
I think the Pack get a win off of maybe a tough home loss. It really depends on Mason Crosby's leg. Is he missing 5 field goals or is he making them? If he's making them, I think we win.
Stafford and Aaron Rodgers is always fun to watch that battle, but I just see the Packers roster just being better.
Especially at this point in the year, if the Lions do have a tough stretch in the middle of the year and they're not quite contenders, which they will be, I think the Packers get a win.
Caleb?
I think at this point, Matt Patricia forgets what team he's playing against and goes into a Krispy Kreme coma, and they do not win the game.
Well, Zach, you got voting's against you, but you got anything to say here?
Like I said, I think the Lions could be sneaky this year, but I don't see them beating the Packers.
Panthers at Lambeau coming to play the Pack.
Win.
I think Aaron Rodgers shreds that defense.
Yeah.
Christian would have a good
Teddy
game.
Bridgewater goes off 285 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, and they lose.
Yep, and he ranked number 31 on Caleb's mom's hot list. So Titans
Teddy's a
at
cutie.
Packers. I think Titans regress. I don't think they're fighting much here. I think Pack win this one.
I think it could be. It's really a toss-up because I have no idea if the Titans already have their 9 wins locked in, then they probably lose. I'll go Packers because I think Derrick Henry's going to have a field day, but I think Aaron Rodgers can play well enough against that defense to get a win.
Zach,
What week is this?
this is the
16.
second to last week.
Okay.
I have a tough time with this one just because Derrick Henry late season is a monster both the past 2 years. This is where he's running for 200 yards and 4 touchdowns a game. I also we haven't found out where Jadeveon Clowney's going, but a lot of people have penciled him to Tennessee as a really possible landing spot. So I think it really could depend on that signing. It's in Lambeau.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll lean Packers, but I do think the Titans are a tough out, just given the matchups here. Plus, they know Matt LaFleur's offense better than anyone because they ran it. So
Yeah.
Caleb?
Close game, I think.
I think I already said Packers.
Sweet.
So is that was over everybody's leaning towards Packers here except for Zach?
So Zach
I
said
picked the
Pack.
Packers too. I think
yeah.
it's a tough game to pick.
Yeah.
Titans
So-
match up well against the Pack.
Real quick, we'll end it here. Packers at Bears. Nick said earlier he thinks they split.
I'll give them a
I think they split as well.
Especially, I think the Bears are going to be playing for
a lot.
I think the Bears will be playing for a lot more than the Packers at this point in the season because I think we have the Pack doing pretty well. Packer a 2 to 3 seed, I think.
Well, Caleb,
Depending on
Kyle,
the
we
record.
have the ability here to override this.
Yeah, Bears are maybe at 4 or 5 wins at this point. They're not playing for anything. I'm taking Packers.
Kyle,
Agreed.
Kyle went Pack.
you're agreeing with Caleb? Pack?
Oh, I heard Pack for some reason. Sorry. No, Bears. I do agree with the split. Sorry.
Well, all right. That leaves the Packers at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wins. We got the Pack at 11-5. Look at that. Now we'll. Yes, Nick.
I think that sounds right around. I think I would have them going 12-4, but I could see 10-6, 12-4. So yeah.
Yeah, the advanced metrics last year indicated that they were more of a 9-7 type team than a 13-3 team. So I see some regression. 11-5, I feel, is the high end for where they're going to be. I think they're more of a 10-6, 9-7 unit.
Yeah, but I also think that our division is going to be worse than it was. Like, I think some of the I don't know. I think around there is good.
But you got the first place schedule too, so I mean there's some variance here.
It's true.
And we're not using any sort of metric system here, Zach.
Get your
We're
math
just a
out of
couple
here.
of
If you
dopes.
go off point differential,
Yeah, the
they were
Imperial
one of the
system's
worst
better, am I right?
13-3 teams in point differential of all time.
Yeah, but if you also go off of point differential, the Seahawks would be winning 8 games.
Yeah, the Seahawks
7
are
games.
usually the exception to the rule there.
Oh, okay.
The
Packers. No, get out of here.
The big thing about the Packers is that real quick. The big thing about the Packers is that Aaron doesn't turn the ball over, so we will be in a lot of close games, even if he isn't playing up to what we wish for Aaron Rodgers. So that's all I'll say of us being competitive, at least to win around there.
I heard a lot of back and forth, same argument semantics, but let's do Bears at Lions. We're getting in the Bears schedule. Zach, did the Bears win that game?
Yeah, Matt Nagy has never lost to the Lions. I like him to continue that streak.
Who's starting?
Oh, he'd be my question.
It's Mitch Trubisky.
Who?
Mitch. Mitch is going to start.
Oh, Trubisky. Say his name correctly.
I think that we brought in Nick Foles instead of Cam Newton because we want
Bigger contract.
Mitch to have a chance.
You want to lose.
Poor Zach.
He wasn't as bad. He's not as bad as he was last year. He's not as good as we hoped. That's an optimistic way of looking at it.
Geez, that doesn't sound. I am not reassured by what you're saying right now.
He's the incumbent. He's going to come in and start without preseason. He has the advantage in camp. He also is just physically more talented than Nick Foles.
Yeah, he has one less ring, though. Dummy. Yeah.
In a training camp setting, I like Mitch to win the job. What he does with that, who knows? But he's going to start week 1, and he's usually against the Lions really dialed in. A lot of his best games as a pro have come against the Lions.
Because Lions stink. I mean, if you're good against bad teams, but you can't do anything against average teams, that's a problem.
Well, then you're Josh Allen.
I'd rather
Josh
have
Allen wins playoff games, sir.
No, he doesn't. He lost his playoff game.
He will this year. All right,
Nick
that's going to
Foles
be a
beat
loss. All right, that'll be, we agree, win for the Bears here.
Yeah.
Zach's making it tough already, though, on me here. Giants at Bears. I give this to the Bears because I want the Giants to lose. Only reason. I don't care who's in QB. Saquon can run for 85 million yards. I want him to lose, so I'll go with a loss for the Giants.
Yeah, the Giants' offensive line is really bad. I think our pass rush is going to just pretty much own the day there.
Yeah,
Daniel
I think
Jones.
the Bears
Sorry, you go, Nick.
Oh, I think the Bears will get a win, but that is a game that I could see upsetting, but just because I don't think Mitch Trubisky's that good, and I think he's going to get benched during the year, and it's even if he does get a big win week 1, you might start to see the wheels fall off already at week 2. But I'll go Bears because of that defense.
Yeah, well, I mean, Daniel Jones has a fumble problem too, and the best player in the NFL at forcing fumbles is Khalil Mack. So it'll, I don't think it'll end well for him there.
Jones could get better at fumbling.
So we're saying win for the Bears here?
Yeah.
Caleb?
I am.
Sounds good to me.
Bears at Falcons. I don't see the Bears starting 3-0. I think they lose.
I think Falcons win. I think their offense is good enough to compete with that defense for the Bears, and I think this is really where you see the wheels start to fall off, and we start hearing Nick Foles chants.
Zach?
I think it's a tough matchup. I mean, Kyle Fuller's good, but he's not going to take down Julio. I don't like the Falcons' run game. I think Todd Gurley, we really don't know where he's at. So they're sort of one-dimensional, which favors a good defense like the Bears. But I don't know that they start 3-0 either. So I could say Falcons win that game.
What do your metrics say, nerd?
I think the math says it's a loss. Colts.
The metrics say that we're better than the Broncos. That's what they say.
I don't know if they do, sir.
10 dollars.
Colts at Bears. Some of my inside sources tell me the Colts O-line is so flippin' good they'll beat teams that should have beaten them. I think they could neutralize Mac. I think Colts get a win. Kyle?
I do agree with that, actually. I think that Bears D-line can stop the run game, and even though I do like Michael Pittman and T.Y. Hilton for Phillip Rivers, I think the Bears corners are still pretty tough to where that defense could win a game. So
Wait, so what is your choice?
the Bears. The Bears will win.
So you don't agree?
And why do you agree with Alex? Yeah, Alex.
Didn't Alex say the
I did not,
Bears
sir.
will win? Oh.
No,
He said
because the
Colts.
Colts have the best
I've
O-line.
been listening for the last hour. I don't know why you guys are surprised.
Why am I getting words confused? I'm so sorry. Yeah, well, I completely disagree with Alex.
We're split. Caleb, what do you got?
What is wrong
Listen.
with me?
This is what we call a classic sand blasting game. The Bears get decimated. Matt Nagy looks in the mirror for 3 straight hours after this game and questions every decision that led him to this moment. They know the wheels have fallen off at this point. It's a Colts victory.
I picture Bill O'Brien next to Nagy crying into the Cheeto bag that he traded for. Zach, what do you think over there?
Well, I like the Colts this year, but I think this matchup in particular does sort of favor the Bears for a few reasons. The first, Phillip Rivers has been known to be a little bit of a gunslinger. Our secondary has Eddie Jackson back there. He's one of the best ball-hawking safeties in the league. So I see us winning the turnover battle against the Colts. On top of that, we also have Chuck Pagano, who's pretty familiar with a lot of their players because he used to be their head coach. We have Matt Nagy, who worked with not Frank Reich, but has worked with
Andy Reid?
Doug Peterson, who worked with Frank Reich. So a lot of their system have some commonalities to it. So I can see us just being a little bit ahead of them in terms of scheme personnel.
I've got to be
like
honest.
Our coordinators.
I don't. That felt like a little bit of a stretch there with that coaching connection with my boy Doug.
Well, all I'm saying is that I could see us winning the battle on the sideline. I like Frank Reich, but I like our personnel as compared to the Colts a little more. It's a close game, but I lean
Nick
Bears.
is the tiebreaker.
So I'm not very high on the Colts, but I do like Frank, and I think he's better than Matt Nagy. So I think they have an advantage on the coaching edge, and I think this is the game where Mitch Trubisky gets benched and they get a loss to a bad team, and then Nick Foles starts the rest of the year. So I'll go Colts.
Really quickly, has anyone ever in the history of the universe said, the reason we're going to win this game is because of Chuck Pagano? No.
No one.
No. If that's your analysis, you're screwed, man. They're not winning that game.
He's a good defensive coordinator.
All right,
Vic Fangio.
Bucks at Bears.
All right, I'm dialing in. I'm focused.
Kyle,
what do you guys
who's
have
winning?
to say?
Bucks at Bears.
I agree with you, Alex. Wait.
Who's winning?
I see the. I see the Bucks. I trust Tom Brady more than Foles, actually Foles did beat him.
Get out of here! You don't trust Brady
Beat
more
him,
than
actually.
Foles. If it's Mitch Trubisky, you can take the loss. If it's Nick Foles, it's a win.
I'll say it's Mitch Trubisky in this case. I think he still gets another chance, but Brady's will beat him.
If Chuck Pagano was the reason they won the last game, this is the reason they lose this game. I take Bucks 34-6.
On my philosophy of Nick Foles coming in, I'm going to go Bears because I think Nick Foles is going to have one of his 2 really good games of the year, and it's going to get Bears fans, just like Zach, very excited after a big win here. I'll go Bears in a close match. Good Nick Foles game.
So what are we at here?
I'm guessing 2-2.
2-1, but I will go with the Bears, and I know that there's a little bit of bias here, but I don't really see us losing 3 games in a row. Also, the way to beat Tom Brady, it's a little cliche, is to pressure him up the middle. The Bears have a pretty good interior pass rush. The Bucs' offensive line is a step down from what Tom Brady's been used to. So I could just see us sort of controlling the ball game on the line of scrimmage there.
So I'm the
So I would think
tiebreaker.
Bears.
I do not think Nick Foles will be starting by week 5. And I do think they have a better shot to win with him, but I don't think he's playing, so I think the Bucs win, and that's a loss. So Bears at Panthers. Zach?
Like I said, I think the Panthers are going to be one of the worst teams in football. I think the Bears would win that one pretty handily.
Yeah, I'll go Bears.
I'd go Bears as well. All in agreement?
I'll agree.
As much
Bears.
as I hate the Bears, and this is an away game, the Panthers are bad.
Now they go on the road again to the Rams in L.A. I'm not sure where the Rams are going to be, but I think give it to the Bears here.
Goff struggles against the Bears, though. Like, if you pressure Goff enough, like, he will not have a good day. And seeing as though we don't know how the run game's going to look like without Gurley, it might be fine, but I think the Bears could stop it, and that means they could also stop Goff. So I can see the Bears pulling out a win.
I'm guessing Zach's gonna go Bears, so I'm gonna go Rams because I think the Rams are a little underrated. Like I think Sean McVay's still an awesome head coach, and I think this might be in the middle of a QB controversy and 2 straight road games. If they win both of those, then that'd be pretty big time, and I think it could be a close game. But I'll give it to Goff and the Rams.
Caleb?
I actually really detest the Rams. I actually think the culture is going to be bad there this year because of like the Clay Matthews getting paid crap. Obviously, they're hemorrhaging players left and right. They don't have any draft picks forever. I just don't like the culture there at all, even though Sean McVay is a stellar fella. So I actually think that they're going to be a pretty bad team this year, so I'll go Bears.
Yeah, I'll go Bears too. I think. I mean, it's just hard to get out of my head. One of the worst games, if not the worst game, Jared Goff has played since his rookie season came against the Bears, and last year he did not look very good against them either. So I don't see him being able to overcome our defense. And if Nick Foles is starting, he's had a lot of success against the Rams. He's got the Eagles that win that led him to the playoffs in 2018 over him. So
yeah, he's beaten him twice.
Yeah, ironically, even though he sucked as a Ram, he's pretty good playing against him.
Bad coach.
Although I think Aaron Donald could have a great game that game.
What did we say here? Kyle,
Bears.
What was the consensus? Bears?
Bears. Yeah.
Bears, wow. So then Saints come into Chicago. Probably a
They
loss.
lose that. If they win 2 games on the road.
Waffle there.
Yeah, if they win 2 games on the road, they're probably losing to the Saints,
Yeah.
Agree? All
Agreed.
right.
I do think if we do have a chance in that game, it is the pass rush and forcing Breeze to look like he did against the Vikings in the playoffs. But even in that playoff game, the Saints were still in it, and we don't have the high-end weapons that the Vikings did last year in terms of like Cook and Diggs. So I'd lean Saints.
Bears at Titans the next week.
I'm going to go Titans.
Zach? Oh, Nick goes Titans. Zach?
This is actually one of the hardest games on the schedule for me to pick because I like the Titans, but I do think that they're going to regress in terms of they're not going to be as good as they were in the playoffs. I know they're going to win 9 games. That's the law. But
It's true.
I do think that the Bears, like the Titans, their one special unit is the run game. And even that hasn't been a whole season thing per se. Derrick Henry usually starts slow. And Ryan Tannehill's primed to regress a little bit. All that's a really – do I really expect the Bears to control that game on the line of scrimmage? I don't know about that. So I would say the Titans have a decent chance, but I'll say Bears.
Caleb?
Yeah, Titans in that one.
Kyle?
There you go.
I actually think the Bears could pull out a win here. Just because I think the Bears' defense can limit Tannehill, and I think they do have enough talent to be able to slow down Derrick Henry. And the Titans also lost Jack Conklin. That really takes down their offensive line a peg, the Titans' offensive line. So I could see Khalil Mack keep lining up on that against whatever right tackle they have, whatever rookie that is, and being able to have a field day. So I could see the Bears playing out a win.
On the tiebreaker, I really like that Bears defense. If Mitch Trubisky is still playing, I don't think they beat the Titans because they got a solid D as well.
I do think at this point in the year, if Mitch Trubisky has not been playing winning football, he's not the quarterback. If he's the reason we're losing games, he's benched by this point of the year.
It's Nick Foles' time.
Well,
but
I'm going to say Nick Foles for the Vikings
then he's not the quarterback we saw last year. So that's,
What if you're winning games but also losing games? Then what do? You go
8-8.
You go 8-8.
Who did you choose, Alex?
It's a loss. I chose the Titans.
Sweet.
Vikings at Bears. Nick Foles is most likely starting at this point, according to the Bears expert. I think if you're suddenly having a quarterback switch, I think you probably lose myself.
I think they split this series. I think the Bears split with the Packers and the Vikings, even though I do think the Vikings will regress. They still have enough firepower to potentially get it done. And this game's at home for the Bears, you said?
Yeah.
No, yes, for the Bears, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll go Bears winning their home game in the division and then probably have them lose to the Vikings later in the year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So I would say Bears will win this one.
Caleb?
No?
Like it.
Zach?
Bears have never lost to the Vikings under Matt Nagy, and we are also 2 of those games have come in pretty big spots for the Vikings. One of them, we kept them out of the playoffs, and we didn't have anything to play for. Our defense just matched it up really well against Kirk Cousins for some reason. So I roll Bears. I don't know that they even split. I think that they really are built to beat the Vikings in a lot of ways.
So is Matt Nagy just not good against the Packers? Because if he's sweeping Lions and Vikings, but he can't beat the Pack?
He's 1-3 versus the Packers, and all 3 losses came by 8 points or less.
Interesting.
All right, well, that's a win there. Now it's Bears at Packers. We had already decided that one for the second game. That's the first game, excuse me.
Yeah, it's a loss.
Where was it here? Where's the Bears? Yep, it's a loss. And then Lions at Bears. Zach says they're undefeated. Guess they win.
Yeah, I'll go Bears.
Caleb?
I think this is an upset that the Lions do win, actually. Matt Stafford is off.
You convinced me.
I know. I feel like you've convinced me too.
I mean, Matt Stafford's capable of beating just about any quarterback, but their offensive line isn't very good. And once again, we tend to do pretty well against the Lions. So I like the Bears' chances.
Kyle?
Is this tied up now, or are you guys all saying?
I'll go. Well, I'll go Lions. Actually, I'll switch. So we got 2 Lions.
I'm still with Bears, actually.
2 Bears.
So
Kyle, you decide.
Ooh, well, I do think Stafford is better than both of those Bears quarterbacks.
Funny, one of them has a ring and Stafford doesn't.
Okay.
The brakes here.
But at the same time, though, the Bears defense is just really good. I'm going to lean towards Bears. I'm going to go with my gut on this one.
All right, Bears get the win. Now it's Texans coming into Chicago. I say loss.
I say loss. I think Texans win.
I like the Texans.
It's another tough one.
Because they have no versatility by now.
Well, their offensive line, Deshaun Watson's going to have to play incredible, but I think they have enough receiving depth to maybe compete with the cornerbacks of the Bears.
I'm really curious. Well, I'm curious to know how Deshaun Watson, he's really good at those off-schedule plays, but, 9 times out of 10, those balls were going to Hopkins. So now that Hopkins isn't there to bail him out, it'll be interesting to see how he does against a pass rush like
if
the
he
Bears.
Regresses.
Watson's a great quarterback. We should have picked him in 2017. But there might be some regression in those sort of circumstances, and a team like the Bears could exploit that offensive line. Tunsil's good, but the right side's going to have to deal with Robert Quinn. Akeem Hicks is in the middle.
Here's what I think.
But actually, I think, Zach, you just revealed it. You guys didn't draft Deshaun Watson. He's upset about it. He's going to dominate.
I don't think Watson gives a crap.
I think both teams
I think Watson does, but I'm not sure that he's there yet. Sorry, I think
both teams have very good defenses. Obviously, the Bears do. I think the Texans' defense is actually pretty solid.
Texans' secondary is really iffy.
Yeah.
Okay, I still think their defense is solid. And I think, who do I trust not to turn the ball over against a very good defense? is Deshaun Watson, and I don't trust Nick Foles or Mitch Trubisky to not turn the ball, or I think they will turn the ball over. I think Watson's more likely to have less. I think they win the turnover differential, and that's why the Texans win.
I'll say Texans because of Deshaun Watson. I think he's versatile enough to get the job done, but I am nervous about his weapons at this point in the season. He has depth at wide receiver, but every one of them always has like an injury issue. And I just won't be shocked if that repeats again this year. I don't know what would change and make that
So are we
different.
going Texans?
I'll lean towards Texans because of Deshaun.
All right, Texans, that's a loss. All right, Bears at Vikings. You said did we agree they're splitting, so this is a loss?
I go split, yeah, loss.
I mean, I disagree, but I think you guys did.
Bears at Jags. I think they
Win.
probably win that one.
Yeah, I could see it.
All right, now it's Packers at Bears. Didn't we agree
It's a
again?
win.
This is a split?
Yep.
Or we already had that over there. That's a
Yep.
win for the Bears, which means their record is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bears go 8-8.
Perfect. I love it.
I feel like you might have been putting your thumb on the scale there, Caleb.
Come on, 8-8.
I think that sounds. I mean, I could see. It really depends on how the quarterback competition goes and how Mitch or Nick Foles plays, because you go as far as your quarterback takes you typically. So I can see 8-8. I know Zach. I think more like 10-6, 9-7 is what you're thinking, right?
Well, I think 8-8 is kind of the floor. We were 8-8 last year. We got better, and we have a weaker schedule. So, I mean, it's not rocket science. Obviously, for me, like they could win 4 games. But I think, and maybe this is just the biased Bears fan in me, they will be better than last year, and so I don't see them going with the same record. But
Zach says weaker schedule. I see a lot of losses on this schedule. We just
well, I mean, if you could also say that they're following the 2017 Jaguars down to getting Nick Foles as our quarterback. So
And they could
who knows?
implode. Yeah.
All right, let's
but
head on
I
here.
like our chances.
Let's head on here, rattle these last 2 divisions off, and let's go to bed. Packers at Vikings. We already decided that was a loss. Vikings at Colts. Quick win-loss round here. Kyle? Colts for Caleb. Colts for Kyle.
Vikings.
Vikings. Colts. All right. That's a loss for the Vikings. Titans at Vikings. Zach?
Vikings.
Vikings.
Yeah.
Caleb?
Like it.
I would agree. Vikings at Texans. Versatility was lost last week. I'd go Vikings.
It'll come
I'd go
back for this
Texans.
week.
I meant to say Texans, even without the versatility. I'd go Texans. I meant
Yeah,
I
this
made a
is a
mistake.
classic bad Kirk Cousins game. I'll take the Texans.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 3. Vikings at Seahawks.
Vikings.
Seahawks.
Whoa.
Seahawks were not that good at home last year, even though that's what they always are. They don't have their fans. Vikings.
Didn't we beat them like twice in a row? Yeah.
No, I'm just saying that the Seahawks were not great at home last year, outside of the Vikings.
Well, we still beat them. I'll take it.
I like the Seahawks.
I say Seahawks.
Oh, that's my vote doesn't matter. I'm not going to make Kyle throw water balloons at me this time. I will say this, though. There are stadiums like Seattle and Kansas City where the fan noise really helps them in games, especially in Seattle. I wonder if that actually plays a real impact this year for some teams.
They're talking about allowing teams to pump in fan noise.
Yeah.
That's
But they're going to have to regulate that. All the teams are going to have to go to a certain decibel length.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how it's going to work, but it's not going to be quiet, and I'm sure it'll favor the home team.
Sure.
And the other part of that is just that Kirk Cousins versus one of the best secondaries in the league. I'll take the Seahawks there.
I mean,
Falcons
the Seahawks were
at Vikings.
Oh, we'll talk
go
about
ahead,
it when
Nick.
the West.
All right,
comes
we'll
up.
we'll do that in their division. Falcons at Vikings. Kyle, who you got?
I could see. I think Matt Ryan will outplay Kirk Cousins easily, so I'll take the Falcons. Yeah.
Caleb?
This is a bad Matt Ryan game. It's in Minnesota. Vikings.
Nick?
Vikings in Minnesota.
Zach?
They're not going to be that bad.
Yeah, the Vikings embarrassed the Falcons last year. I don't think that the bar has been moved too much. I think the Vikings there.
That's a win.
All right.
And then at Lambeau, we had that as a loss, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Vikings, Lions at Vikings. Who do we got?
Vikings.
Vikings at home.
Oh, sounds like it. Vikings at Bears. What did we have here?
That was a loss.
We had that a loss. Cowboys at Vikings. Zach?
Cowboys.
Caleb?
Listen, I actually really like this Cowboys team. I know that's not something we're supposed to say on this podcast. I know. I'm so sorry. But this Cowboys team, this could be a pretty fun team to watch play football. So I like that Cowboys team.
You can't be fun with what's-his-face at head coach. No creativity.
Well, look at the Vikings. Their biggest losses came in the secondary. And then you look at the Cowboys, and their top 3 wide receivers are Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. It sort of looks like a matchup nightmare for the Vikings.
So you two are going Cowboys?
Yes.
Nick?
It'll be a fun 8-8 team.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys, I think it's kind of a toss-up. I think the Cowboys' defense is very overrated. I don't think they have a great defense.
Not good.
But I'll go, because of that secondary, I do agree at that point. I'll go Cowboys.
All right, that's the voting there. Panthers at Vikings. I think Vikings.
Yeah, I'll take the Vikings there.
We've just decided the Panthers are pretty bad today, but
It is curious, though, because that secondary for the Vikings will not be very good. It's going to be a massive struggle. And Teddy Bridgewater will have like DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel. I know some people don't like Robbie Anderson, but he can be a playmaker.
I thought you don't like Robbie Anderson.
In fantasy, but not in real life. He's a fine player. There's a difference.
Yeah, but I mean, the Vikings did lose 3 cornerbacks, and they drafted a first-round guy, but they also have Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith, and I think by this point in the year, that secondary, like I think they might struggle early on because it's just so new, but they still have great safeties. They still have Eric Kendricks. They still have Hunter. And I don't think the Panthers will be very good.
Yeah,
so
good points.
Win for the Vikings here. Jags at Vikings. Who do we got?
Vikings.
Yeah.
I think this is a rare Minshew mania game, and he goes off. I actually take the Jags there.
Ooh.
I'll take Jags too, but we're outvoted.
That's fine.
Vikings at Bucks.
Bucks.
Yeah, a lot of head nods for those listening. All right.
I do think that the Vikings have some of the best cover linebackers in the game, though. So in terms of like Gronk and O.J. Howard, they have the best chance to neutralize that.
So we have them beating the Bears the following week, and then we have Vikings at Saints. I don't think they win in the Dome in New Orleans. I'm getting a lot of head shakes here, so looks like a loss for the Vikings, and then they end the year at Detroit. Zach?
I'll go Lions.
Ooh.
I'll
Nick?
go Lions. I don't think they're going
pretty all right.
0-6. Yeah, they're not going to go 0-6 in the division. That's
Caleb?
where we have them at, right?
Yeah, I like the Lions too. I picked the Lions in the last one. I don't think they'll sweep, but I'll take them here. So.
All right. Yeah, I don't think the Lions will get swept in the division either, but we gave them 2 wins against the Bears, and I think one of those games will be switched. So the Viking schedule is wins is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're going to go 7-9.
That seems pretty fair. Maybe a little high, but it seems fair.
I would think
All right,
8-8.
let's see if we can
Depends on Kirk.
Let's quickly rattle off this Lions team that we apparently hate. So we have the Lions against the Bears losing in the first week. We have them losing to the Packers in the second week. And then Lions at Cardinals. I'd go Cards.
I'd go Cards as well.
A lot of
Even though
Cards.
it'd be a tough
Vote.
start for the Lions, but I like Cards a lot.
Yeah, Matt
Then they
Patricia's-
play the Saints.
it's another
Saints
loss.
in Detroit. I think so.
Loss.
Another loss.
Wow.
Then they play the Jags.
Win.
They've got to get a win. I don't think they're going to start 5-0. or 0-5.
Are they in Jacksonville?
Yes.
I think it's another loss. I don't think that's a good team.
Wow. Not even
Well,
mention
Caleb,
I
Mania?
think
loss.
the Lions could have easily a top 10 offense. I
No,
think the
Kyle,
Lions win this.
he's saying the Minshew Mania does win.
Oh, geez, I need to go to bed. My bad.
Kyle, do you think the Jags win here? It's at home for the Jags.
I could see the Lions winning that.
So Lions looks like the overall supports Lions winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, name a player from the Jags secondary.
I can't name one from the Lions secondary either.
Jeff
Lions
Okudah,
at
but-
Falcons. I didn't hear either who you said.
Jeff
I'll go
Okudah.
Falcons.
I think Falcons too.
I think Falcons too.
Is that another away game?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got them going 0-6 or whatever at this point.
Colts at Lions.
Lions.
I go Colts.
There has to be someone on that Lions defense other than Jeff Okudah.
They
got
have Trey
Jamie.
Flowers.
Yeah, Jamie
Yeah.
and Trey.
I go Colts.
I think I know Matt Stafford's going to pull a win out of the dark recesses of some orifice, but I don't think it's on this week either. So I guess I got him going 0-7 to start the year. What the heck?
They're going to fire Matt Patricia right around here, and then things might
So,
turn around.
What was our consensus here?
Falcons.
Loss. That's another loss for him.
Yeah.
Another loss. All right. Against the Vikings, where did we have that? We're Lions. We
That
had
was a
another
loss.
Now they're playing the TBDs up in Washington. Actually, they're playing the Washington team in Detroit. That's my bad. I think the Lions get a win against the TBDs, even with their good defense.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Then we got the Lions at Panthers. We got to keep with tradition here. I think that's a win for the Lions.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel bad for my buddy Dave. Shout out to him because he's a big Panther fan. Texans at Lions. I think Texans win that game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
close.
Lions. And I know that's a little bit of a weird pick, but Matt Stafford is kind of the master of fourth quarter comebacks. And I don't think the Texans are going to be blowing many teams out this year. So it's a close game in the fourth quarter. I lean Matt Stafford. We forget Matt Stafford last year. He was on pace to throw for 40 touchdowns before he got hurt. He was going to be a legit MVP candidate. He's returning a Kenny Galladay, Marvin Jones, plus Hawkinson's getting better. He has Swift in the backfield. Nick said they might be a top 10 offense. I don't trust their defense at all, but their offense should be pretty spectacular.
They're kind of like the Falcons, actually.
Yeah.
Like on paper. Yeah.
Like
So
the
we going with a
I'll
loss
go-
here?
Falcons.
I'll go
yeah.
Lions win, but I still think it's a loss because we got 3 votes.
Kyle and Zach, you both said Texans lose, correct?
I was
Kyle
leaning
said
towards
Texans
Texans
win.
winning.
So Nick and Zach are saying Lions win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle's saying Texans win. Caleb, what do you got?
I actually agree with this. I think if Matt Patricia is gone at this point, they're rolling now behind Matt Stafford. I don't really like this Texans team. I don't think Deshaun Watson really wants to be there. So I'll go Lions.
All right, that's a win for the Lions. So then they lose to the Bears, lose to the Packers, and then Lions at Titans. I think Titans win.
Yeah, they lose.
A lot of
Yeah.
yeses. All right, that's a loss. And then Bucks in
Loss.
Detroit.
Loss.
Yeah, I think that's a loss. And they win against the Vikings in the last week, so that puts them at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What was
Sounds
their
about
win?
right.
5 and 11.
How many did they win last year? Like half the season was without Stafford.
3.
Won 3.
They won 3.
They went 3-12-1.
Okay.
And they
so
won
Stafford,
all 3 with Stafford, right?
They were like 3-4-1 when
Yeah.
Stafford got hurt, and 2 of those losses, one of them was the Chiefs, and they got really
Should've won.
unlucky. And the
And
other
the
one,
Pack.
the Packers got the game handed to them by the refs. So
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, Stafford. Oh, sorry. You go.
No,
Alex.
go ahead. No, Kyle, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I think Stafford will get them to like play in close competitively with a lot of teams, but this seems about right then. After what we just
All right.
went over.
NFC North, first NFC division we've done. We have the Packers winning at 11-5. Nick's cheering. Zach's disagreeing. but the votes didn't go his way. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Get Back Guys podcast. We will have the rest of the NFC coming out shortly. It's going to be a lot of videos quickly because the NFL season's in like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks,
Crazy.
something like that, which is really exciting. So, guys, please remember to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as the YouTube show. You can follow us on Twitter at the Get Back Guys, as well as on Instagram at the Get Back Guys. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for being on, Caleb and Zach.
Later, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
What a time.